Lord, but you were there. And Lord, I pray today that you will just give us direction. Lord, as we come across people in our daily lives at work and play that don't know you, Lord, I pray that your Spirit will help us to know what to say when we need to say, and teach us when to be quiet and just listen. Lord, with this money that comes forward this morning, Lord, I pray that it would just be used in such a special way here and abroad. And Lord, people would just, in this, what I truly believe as I read your word to be the last time, Lord, people would come to this church and other churches and just hear this saving word. Lord, and I thank you for it this morning. In your Son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Brent Steeves to come on up, and he's prepared a message for us this morning. So we just want to bless you in the name of Jesus to declare His truth in this place. Amen.
Good morning. Good morning. For those of you who are expecting Tara this morning, I apologize. For you're not Tara. And I need to also apologize because Bob begged me this morning. He begged me. Could you stand at the pulpit? And you know what? For like 10 seconds, I think I humored him and said, "Oh yeah, I think I can do that. I think I can do that." But you better hook me up with a remote mic because I don't like being tied to the pulpit, as you know. I've seen me speak before. I prefer to wander a little bit, but I'm going to try to stand out a little bit more still than usual. So bear with me as I try that. Let's just take a moment just to pray. Lord, thank you for this morning. Thank you for the worship that we've experienced this morning. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to meet together in peace and in prayer and in proximity one with another. Thank you, Lord, for your blessings. Thank you for your words. And as I attempt to unpack the message, Lord, that may be laid on my heart this morning, please keep me out of the way. Let your words come through me. Open the ears of the listeners. Lord, just bless us all. Amen. How many people have gone on a great vacation? A great vacation. How many people's great vacation took place in a Caribbean island? Dominican Republic, Cuba, Mexico. Well, Mexico's not an island, but you know what I mean. It's somewhere exotic like that. Another country, far away. A lot of people? Yeah, good few of us. And you know, when you go on that kind of vacation, something similar happens, I'm sure, for all of us. There's a few, you got to checklist. You got to make sure you have your passport. You got to make sure if you're a woman, you have the right bathing suit, right? This is not something you don't do by yourself. Women choose bathing suit by committee. It's like they get a little plot together and they all meet and they make sure everyone's going to say just the right thing. And that's a group, I'll take with me and up we go, get a bathing suit, right? And guys are just like, oh, they're go. And so anyway, so we do this preparation. One of those preparation things that we do is we end up at a bank. Because for whatever reason, it seems no matter what country we go to, we think we need US money. Right? Am I right? Doesn't matter where you're going, it's like, I need some of these. Can I get some of these? Because I got Canadian stuff, but I think I need this. Okay, so you go to the bank and you get US dollars. The last time Tara and I went on that kind of vacation, we went with a couple of friends, we went to the Dominican Republic, and we did what we're supposed to do. We did all those other things, and then we end up in the bank, we get US money. We get down to the airport in Dominican Republic, and when you land at the airport, of course, one of the first things you do when you get to the airport, while you're waiting for the baggage that you hope made it with you, you go to what? You go to one of those little booths that take some of your US money and change it into the local currency. It's one of the things you do, because you want some. But you're judicious about it, right? You're not going to give them all of it. Because you know, as friends who've been there before have told you, well, you're still going to need some foreign currency when you get there. Because there's going to be things you're going to want to buy, and that money goes a little further. Okay? So you don't change it all, but you change some. So you have some of this weird, cartoonish kind of money that the country you're in. And then you get on a bus and they take you to your hotel or resort or wherever you're staying. So you're prepared when you get there. Well, so Tara and I did all this and our friends, and we arrived at this nice resort. And one of the things on the bucket list for all of us at Steeves was to go diving. You guys want to go diving? You want to go down, you want to see some coral, you want to see those fish like you see on TV that's swimming in the coral. And it's like, I want to do that. I really, really want to do that. So you're in a third world country where it seems they make up laws and rules as they go along. There doesn't seem to be anything consistent in how they do things. It's just, okay, well today, to get certified to dive, what you're going to do is you're going to go in the shallow end of a pool. We're going to gear you up with the rubber suit, no visuals. And you put that on, you put the tanks on, you kind of float around in the shallow end of the pool, and supposedly now you're an expert diver. Well, while we were doing this, for me, I had bad gear. I know I did. Because I'm in the pool, and as everyone else is, you're trying to get this neutral buoyancy. That's what the big thing, neutral buoyancy. So you're neither floating or sinking, you're just kind of in the middle. And that's what you need, I guess, apparently, when you're looking at coral. And you need to be able to stay still. So I'm trying to achieve this neutral buoyancy, but I'm surrounded by this huge mass of bubbles. Like I'm just in this bubble machine, for lack of any other way of describing it. And I can't get neutral buoyancy. I'm like on the bottom or on the top or somewhere, but I'm certainly not doing what the instructor is saying I'm supposed to be doing. What I'm doing instead is just I'm kind of flailing around. So I stand up, thankfully, because it's this deep. I stand up and I look, and it's just air is just like gushing out of this valve in the back of my head. So I say to the instructor, whose name, believe it or not, was Romeo. I said, Romeo, I think my ear here is broken. So he comes over, he looks at it and goes, oh yeah, there's a little leak. But don't worry about it, we'll fix it. Okay, no problem. Why wouldn't you fix it for the third world? I'm sure you have lots of money. Anyway, I believe him. We're going to fix it. So we get through the rest of the session, all right, and I don't really have the training I'm supposed to have because I have bad gear. I spend the training watching other people learn how to dive, and that's my instruction portion, and that's supposed to be good. Later that afternoon, we get on a boat, and we sail out to where we're going to do this dive. Bit of a choppy day. And I love the sea, so that kind of thing doesn't frighten me to be on a boat that's kind of heaving to and fro. Besides, we're going to be under the water, not on it, so who cares? We get to the dive site. Now, understand, the dive site is a good 45 minutes from shore. And if you are 45 minutes from shore, unless you're going along the shore, you're going out, you don't see land anymore, right? So you're out, not in the middle of the ocean, but you feel like you're in the middle of the ocean. We're out of sight of land. Good. We're also in about 38 feet of water, which for anybody who knows anything about diving knows every 10 feet is about the equivalent of one Earth's gravitation. So when you're 10 feet deep, right, you're twice as heavy, or what, I don't know, you're feeling twice that pressure. So when you're nearly 40 feet deep, you're deep. Now, in any country that has real rules, when your first dive, you're not allowed to exceed 10 feet. Right? So if you're in one of the places that they show you pictures of, where the coral is like where that offering plate is, that's how deep you're diving. Not us. We are almost 40 feet below the sea. And to get to this spot, we're like pulling ourselves down the anchor chain to get to this diving spot. So as everybody's doing this, and I'm pulling myself down the anchor chain, what I'm noticing is, yes, I see the bubbles. Like all around me, right? So I'm pulling down and I'm feeling all these bubbles, and I'm like trying to like pop my ears like crazy and try to do the stuff that I remember them saying, because I didn't get to experience it, because remember I had faulty equipment, not now, but then. And so we're going down the chain, and here I am in a sea of bubbles, trying to pretend everything is good. Well, everything is not good. It's not good. I'm in trouble. Right? But I'm like almost smart enough to realize it at that point, but not quite. Right? I think, no, Romeo's got this. Romeo's going to handle every good diver. What better name for a diver than Romeo? And surely he knows what he's doing, and it hasn't been safe. I don't know. Anyway, so down we go. We get to the bottom, and everyone starts swimming away. Well, I can't swim. I have no air. Like I feel like I can't breathe. I can't get my vest buoyant enough to get me off the bottom. So I'm just kind of laying there, and there's like sand coming up, and I'm like, well, this is not good. Nothing good can come of this. That's what I'm thinking. So I do what anybody in that circumstance should do. I get to the surface, like as quick as I could. I'm thinking to myself, because they warn you within an inch of your life before you go down. If you lose or damage any equipment, well, you better have babies while you're there, because you're not leaving that country, right, without replacing the goods that you're damaging, of course, that's another story. But regardless, I'm just thinking to myself, I just want to get this stuff off. Right? Like I'm thinking I'm going to shed weight belt, I'm going to do whatever. I didn't do any of that. I just swam to the surface. And I get what I believe is about halfway up. And there was actually experienced diving on this trip. And I feel this kind of tap from a distance, like on top of my head. So I look, right? It's not a shark, it's not whatever. It's one of these other divers. He looks at me and he gives me the universal sign. Not okay. And he does this, because they teach you this while you're in the pool. If you do this, that means look at me, focus on me. So that's what he's doing. Look at me. So I look at him. He's like, man, I'm kidding you. I just, he just kept saying, you're okay. And I'm reaching around for this stupid gauge that floats somewhere behind you that tells you how much air you really have. And I'm trying to find that to show him I am not okay. I can't breathe. Anyway, long story short, I kind of push him away. And when you're diving, you don't get too close, right? Because you don't want your gear ripped off. So it was rather easy to push him away. And he was smaller than me, which also led to some satisfaction on my part. Not that I'm angry or better. And I swam up and I broke the surface and I'm up on the surface and then this guy comes up beside me and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Man, I had no air. I couldn't breathe. Like, I had to get to the surface." And he said, no, you were fine. You were fine." I was not fine. I'm mad. Like, I'm not fine. I am mad. I made him tow me back in the boat. That's how mad I was. It's like, I just even refuse to swim. I just take one of these and like, I'll just drown here. And he said, "Well, you gotta get to the boat." I was like, "Bring it home." So he did. And he kind of towed me back on whatever, back to the something. I get back to the boat. So anyway, everyone else has their dive, and apparently they see some pretty neat things, and I didn't dive. Or so I thought. So we get back to shore eventually. And this is good. We get back to shore, and I do what any good pastor would do. I gently negotiated my money in the dive shop. Which of course at first they weren't going to give me, because apparently while in my death throes under the water, I did spend the 10 minutes that constituted a full dive. So the fact that I may have been diving aside, you did spend 10 minutes underwater, therefore we don't owe you any money. Well, guess what? Yes, you do owe me money. And we gently negotiated back and forth, and ultimately they gave me their money back. This is all going somewhere. They didn't want to give me the $100 US that I gave them. They wanted to give me some local Dominican currency of dubious background, and who knows if it's even real or not. But you don't know what they're giving. So I argued more, and eventually they gave me my $100 back. I get back to the hotel room. Everyone else who had a wonderful dive wanted to go off and talk about it. Everyone else being my lovely wife and my two best friends. They all go off somewhere to talk about this dive. Me, I'm emotionally exhausted. Like, I almost died. You guys go have fun. Don't worry about me. I'm good. So they go off and they actually, apparently I don't know where all they went, but they ended up back in my friend's room down the hall. And I had to lay down. So I laid down in bed and had a little nap. So I wake up from my nap. And when I wake up from my nap, I'm looking around the room, and it's kind of dark, and I'm thinking, oh, I slept all the way to evening, but that's not a surprise. I mean, I near died from drowning, and I must have been tired. So I get up, and I kind of walk over to the patio section of our hotel room, and I open up the curtains, and I look outside, and I can see sun and see whatever, but it was still dark. I see what's happening. I went to the surface so quickly, I've gone blind. Well, of course I've gone blind, because this is supposed to be vacation. And after nearly drowning, what better thing could happen than to cap them up with a good old dose of blindness? That's what I want, yeah. So I'm walking around the room and thinking, oh, this is great. That's what I always wanted. I always wanted to die at sea, be resurrected, and be resurrected blind. Oh, Lord, thank you so very much. I'm not good. And I leave the room, and listen, I'm feeling so bad. Like, I'm feeling sorry for myself. I'm just feeling like, why is this happening to me? And I'm walking down the hall like a 5-year-old, just in trouble. And I could hear their voices down the hall in the room area. So I go in the room with them, and I go in and I sit down, and they're still joyously talking about this dive and all the good things that have happened. And I'm sitting there wondering how I'm going to break it to my wife and my best friends that I've ruined her vacation, because not only have I almost drowned, I am now blind. And how am I going to have to go home? So I kind of look at them and I say, guys, I just got something really, I just got to tell you something. And they look at me. I say, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to say it. So I'm like about to cry. And I could cry right now. And I said, like, I'm so sorry, like, I'm blind. And they're like, you're blind? I said, yeah, I don't know, I must have surfaced too fast, and maybe the, capillaries in my eyes or something that burst, and I've gone blind. And so Tara comes over, and she's like, well, take off your sunglasses and let me see your eyes. I kid you not, this really happened. This really happened. pre-planned. We didn't know it. I had a little beach story, and I got beach decorations, and whatever. And isn't it interesting, when you go to these countries, and you go to these places, and you bring your money from home, and you're always doing calculations in your head. What's the exchange? What's the exchange? What's this worth? If I give them this $10, what's that really in their money? Like, I understand, like, I think $10 they can live like 10 years on that, and am I really overpaying for whatever? And you're always doing these calculations in your head, and you do stupid things, like buy stuff like this. Like, what is that? Like, why do we buy that? Like, why? Probably other people like this. If you've been in the Dominican Republic, because I'm going to tell you something. Although they will pretend that Pablo painted this, Pablo did not. There's 1,000 of these very same things. This is a textured canvas that runs through a press, and it's made to look like we painted. You can buy these at HomeSense if you want to. They're not real. They're not real. The signature is not real. Nobody painted that. Well, someone painted it initially until they did, ran through a press. But I mean, this is not real. And we pay good money for it. And not just any money. We don't pay their funny money. We pay our good money to get one of these things that eventually we take home with full intention of saying, oh, that looks so good over in that spot in the house. Yeah, all right. And we'll fit the luggage. I'll leave something. I want that painting so bad. All right. So you bring it home, and I think Tara either found that in the crawl space or somewhere. Certainly not hanging on the wall. And after the service, if anybody wants it, I think it's $15 US. Today, 10. For first person who comes to see me, $10. They're funny the things we do when we're on vacation. If after the service somebody wants it, we can talk about it. If you want to do that. So let's look at a time when the Israelites were on a vacation. Not that they had a lot of free time or that they were living in a leisure kind of society, but they made pilgrimages and trips sometimes. And on this particular occasion, in John tells us it was the feast of the Passover. And so Jewish or Israelites and Jewish people from all over the nation were gathering together at the temple for the feast of Passover and to make the pilgrimage to the temple and to offer up sacrifices and do the things that they do at that time. Into this context, Jesus arrives, and we read in Mark chapter 11, starting at verse 15. I'll read it. Jesus cleanses the temple. And they came to Jerusalem, and he entered the temple, and he began to drive out those who sold and those who bought in the temple. And he overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold pigeons, and he would not allow anyone to carry anything through the temple. And he, of course, was Jesus. And he was teaching them and saying to them, "Is it not written, my house shall be called a house of prayer for all nations, but you have made it a den of robbers." And the chief priests and the scribes heard it, and they were seeking a way to destroy him, for they feared him, because all the crowd was astonished at his teaching. And when evening came, they went out of the city. Two things intrigue me deeply about that particular passage. One, I've never set up a booth at a farmer's market. I've barely ever been to a farmer's market, like maybe 4 or 5 times. I don't know. I've been to that flea market in Sussex. So I'm guessing it's the same kind of. I'm trying to imagine a situation in which somebody could walk into that place, fashion together a cord of ropes, make it into some kind of whip, and start trashing the place. And just and whipping people and turning tables over and shouting and teaching and doing all this stuff all at the same time. I can't imagine a situation where this could happen and nobody would do it. Can you? Can you imagine any one of us walking into a marketplace, walking into the flea market in Sussex, walking into some place like that, and just start trashing the place and tipping tables over or whatever, and doing that, and everybody just kind of standing back and watching. But this is what happens in this account. There's no account of anybody pushing back. There's nothing in there that would indicate anything other than the priests and scribes who are kind of muttering to themselves behind the scenes that something was going on. But here was Jesus doing this. And remember, apart from the disciples and some of his followers, no one really believed that Jesus was God. So he was not coming in there with a superhero